Easy, how are we?
Jesus, Seán, I didn't realise you started recording. Yeah, I'm good. I was just in my own world there. I don't know if it's...
I literally just said you could start recording. Like, yeah, and I jumped in with this.
I don't know. Is it the hangover? Or is it I think it's actually more the hangover.
It's definitely the hangover.
But what a weekend.
Unbelievable, Jeff. It's so much to wrap into one podcast, and neither of us have the mental capacity to do it, but we are absolutely going to try. Barcelona has been phenomenal. The trip, everything, the people that have been here with us, it has been one hell of a weekend, and you can probably tell through our voices right now. We enjoyed the celebrations that was last night here. At the moment, we're recording straight from the hotel lobby on the Monday morning. As early as we could. It's 10 to 11 as we record.
Yeah, it's been a slow start to the day, but as the group are starting to head off to do their last bit of touring for the day before we fly back tonight, we thought it was best to get this podcast recorded and kind of share the experience of what was the Barcelona Marathon.
Absolutely. I don't even know where to begin with this one. Do we go straight to the marathon talk, the Expo? Yeah, it's just been a hell of a weekend. I mean, in fairness, I'd tell you where I'll start, where I was completely lost, because I was like, we'll get to the airport at 2 o'clock. And of course, at 25 past 2, you've got the big group, and I'm like, I don't know myself what to do going through an airport, and he nobody handles that. But then you just took over, and the organisation skills yourself, man, has been absolutely phenomenal, because I know my strengths and my weaknesses. Thankfully, my strength was running this weekend, but organisation is definitely not it. So, Bula Buster on that one.
Yeah, it was great. Even in Dublin, it was like we were robbing a bank. It was like an ATM was printing money, because people went up with their passports and got flight tickets. I was like, this is brilliant. I can't believe this actually worked out. I have to say, my pits were pretty sweaty until the last person got their boarding card, and then I was like, right, I'm guaranteed at least we get there, and we'll see what else we can figure out after that. But it was amazing, I suppose. Let's start at the start and touch on the end, to see 43 strangers in the only awkward circle. No one knows anyone, no one talking to anyone, and then all of a sudden there's a flight, you have to sit beside people, you have to talk to people, you do a marathon together, and then by the end, when it comes to the hotel lobby with the beers, they're pulling tables beside each other, they're drinking away. All of a sudden, me and you were irrelevant again, which was absolutely great. Fantastic. So it's definitely something that was really, really good. And I suppose like we will touch on the race itself. We'll touch on the course, the things we liked, and I have to say this is going to be an episode that's kind of surprising me in the fact I thought I'd come away with do you know what? We probably do things better over here, and I've seen things better there. But this was definitely a marathon that I was more than impressed with. I actually don't think I have a negative to say, and I'm not saying that because we brought people here and you should come on a trip away with us. That's not it at all. And those who were here were probably setting the tone on this. That what a place, what a venue, what a course. The crowds were amazing. The course was amazing. We'll get into more details on that as we go through it step by step. But I suppose to us to initiate this episode with a thank you to the people who trusted us to come away with us. To trust that I could organise a trip away for a start. They knew it wasn't you. But,
I said all weekend it wasn't me.
Yeah, that was you. In case it went wrong, you had a good alibi. I had nothing to do with this. This was all Eric, sue him. But like we had people come from all over, and we'll touch on them and what they achieved over the weekend as we get into this episode. But as an initial, if it's too long, do not listen. Barcelona has been absolutely amazing, and what a race it was.
Do you know what I think a good way to start is at the Expo? We did what we've always done over the last 5 years.
Rob everything at an Expo. There's a reason I gave them all bags.
I was going to say, don't do what we do. What other people do. We did a bad thing. So we're walking around.
Did a very bad thing. Very bad thing. We've said in the podcast before, you just don't do this. But we did it anyway. So we walking around, and one of the guys there, Paulie, was talking to him. And I was like, Paulie, I don't have any gels with me. I forgot with a check-in bag, and I never thought about it. So I saw one sign there that what was it, Fanta or something? Fanta. Oh, I had a Fanta over the E, and I said, you know what? Sounds Irish. I'll grab a couple of gels off them. Had never experimented with the gels before today, and your one's like, well, these have an proper orange flavour in it from fruits of some place or whatever. The same with the lemon. I was like, I'll go with that. 60 grams of gel. I'm used to 30 grams, but sure.
what's the worst that could happen? And everyone we said in the trip was like, what are you doing, Seán? I'm like, And next thing I know, Eric's like, I saw this Fanta place. I'm going to grab a couple of gels off them as well.
The blind leading the blind. Oh, mine was even worse. I was in new shoes that you bought me in Ireland because I can't get my sizes in the UAE. So I had new shoes, I bought new socks, new shorts.
New t-shirt.
The AGR t-shirt I hadn't done a long run in, so I was pretty much a new man.
New surface for running because you only ran on treadmills.
I only ran on treadmills. And then I had this Fanta and off I was going, which was absolutely brilliant. Now, they tasted fucking horrible.
Oh, horrible. Awful.
But they did not let me down. They did their job, and I have to say, I usually went with the 30 gram kind of ones, and I was always carrying a load. But when I was using the 60 gram, and I suppose from the nutrition, I just found it so easy to just hold it in my hand, take a little nibble here and this kilometre, that kilometre, and I was just kind of grazing my way around. And I just shoved them in my pockets because I was only carrying 6 and two caffeine ones to get me through the end of the race. But it was a very efficient check-in process. From the moment we started getting the millions of emails you get when you sign up to a marathon as part of the hype and the build-up, but arriving to the Expo that day, getting our race numbers, you know, there was no queues, and there was 27,000 people doing this marathon.
Yep.
We had our race numbers, our bags and our t-shirts within 7 minutes, and then we were just exploring the Expo, which was absolutely amazing. It really gave us time in the day to then explore Barcelona and have a look around. So all in all, it was a massive, I know like the RDS is a really, it's a big venue as well, but it can be messy at times. But with this one, it was just amazing to see so many people getting through so quickly. So many volunteers.
Yeah.
So many. Like, it was overwhelming, the amount of volunteers giving out numbers and checking tickets and stuff. It was so efficient. It was really, really well done.
Why did you get your neck cracked?
I needed
Why? It looks hard. As the video goes up, the stories there for it looks like, why would you do that the day before an event? Like, I'd be afraid of just, my body would not function after it. Did something wrong.
For me, with the sitting positions and my head positions all the time, it's just, my neck just feels kind of locked in one place, and I kind of feel a little bit lopsided. Does that make sense? So they were offering like a realignment, and I was like, yes. I've been waiting for this for a couple of months. And you guys sat and watched, and when he cracked my neck, he was all nearly fainted, but the noise of it, and he did it twice and 3 times in my back and stuff. But I just felt, the minute it happened, I was just like, oh yeah, I floated off the table. I was like, this was exactly what I was looking for. Did it help me on the day? I don't know. But did I need it after all the flights and the awkward sleeps? 100%. And I still, like, even now, the freedom I have in my neck, and it's just, I really enjoy it. Look, I know because of the things I do in work and everything else, I'm going to have to do these kind of things because the way we sit, it's awkward, we're twisted, and it's just maintenance, I suppose. But I had let it go probably a bit too long, and I can get headaches and stuff sometimes. And it just, for me, it just gives me that instant. Like, it's not like it's, you'll be better in a day. Like, I get off that table, I'm like, oh yeah,
new man,
I am a new man. So yeah, that was another thing as well, getting cracked and manipulated the day before a marathon as well. So
it's another thing you just don't do.
Well, it was there at the Expo, so it must be all right. But it was excellent and thoroughly enjoyable. So really enjoyed it, and it really set us up for a good experience. You know, when the Expo went really well and people got all their gear, and then we went for a shakeout run, which was good for some people. Some people thought they were doing a 5k PB effort.
I don't know where they heard speed up when you said so. I've no idea who told them that.
But it was great, and the weather was holding so well for us, and it was just lovely. It was really cold in the shade, nice and warm in the sun, and really good. And the hotel, in fairness as well, we stayed in, we were only 1.5 kilometres from the start line, which made a big difference, and great facilities here to get us going for the day.
Winter training? You need Ultra Pure Laboratories Wintergreen Heat Rub Cream.
Recommended by physios, trusted by athletes, and tried and tested by ourselves, this is an essential warming muscle rub for cold winter days.
Ultra Pure Wintergreen Heat Rub Cream is perfect for warming up muscles before exercise.
And ideal for soothing tired muscles, which, let's face it, marathon training, we could definitely do with that.
If you're concerned about the ingredients, it contains wintergreen oil, rosemary camphor oil, juniper berry oil, and antioxidant-rich caffeine powder. Seán has no idea what any of these means, but he knows that they work.
It keeps me warm too. Apply Ultra Pure Laboratories Wintergreen Heat Rub Cream liberally on problem areas such as the legs, arms, back, neck, and shoulders, and massage as well. But rinse hands well with cool water after use. I have made that mistake. It is not fun.
Guaranteed Irish and made in County Mayo, Ultra Pure Wintergreen Heat Rub Cream is available in pharmacies and health stores nationwide. Shop the Ultra Pure Muscle Recovery range in-store or online and find out more at ultrapurelabs.ie. By listening to this advert, you are supporting Irish podcasts and Irish businesses. Let's get back to the podcast.
Well, we were up at 6:30 on a Sunday morning for breakfast because most of us were starting at anyway, between 8:30 was the first wave, and then I was on 20 to 9. You were on soon after that, and it kept going from there. And all of us were on different waves. And we heard how strict it was. It was like, we're up 6:30, breakfast. Took me a while to wake up. 1-2 cups. Actually, only had 1 cup of coffee because those gels didn't know what they were going to do to me. But then, like you said, when you say a kilometre and a half away from the start line, people are thinking Dublin here and go, okay, that's a kilometre and a half away from. You're entering the corral of people and the bag drops and the big loops around. So how far was the actual walk between the hotel and getting to the start line?
No, it was 1.5 kilometres and you could just jump in. It was absolutely amazing.
It was too good.
It was, apart from the pros and the elites, and it was the 2:45 to 3 hour. They were very, very strict on who was entering that one. After that, it was very well laid out with these beautiful big flags of the colour of your bib. And there was 2 or 3 entrances into that corral on both sides of the road, and you could just slot into your corral. And there was, in a nice way, for me, I had a higher ambition. I would have been really under pressure if I went to my corral. So I went 2 corrals back to be surrounded by people. And now I went ahead of where I was running at. So it was still nice to be able to go, oh, not today. And I just go back. I wasn't trying to get up with the elites and interfere with good times and be slowing people down. I was going to the back where it was more suited to my pace. And there was no you can't come in here, you're blue, you're supposed... Because people kind of know where they're at.
Yeah.
As long as you're not interfering with those who are trying to win the race.
Yeah.
After that, the streets are wide, there's 27,000 people. You're all on a chip timing. It doesn't really, really matter. You've people going for PBs, but it's not interfering, I suppose, with it is a race. So for me, that flexibility was absolutely amazing. Like in my one, it was like a rainbow. There was 5 of us across. We were all different colours because we all had high ambitions, and obviously race day comes around and it was just a different thing. But that flexibility. Now, there was a bag drop which you had to walk maybe another kilometre further and drop a bag, but very efficient, very quick, and then walk back. And to be honest, at the end, I was glad of it because... It was cold.
Right beside the finish. The bag drop was. Yeah, you turn and then walking back the way you came. There was your bag to collect.
It was brilliant in that sense, and really, really enjoyable. And the finish, we'll talk about the finish line, but the spectacle of the landmarks we're talking about. We've talked about other marathons, and they're like, oh, you want to move without it? We're talking the heart of Barcelona, of all the major attractions, and you finish at one of them. Yeah, and you run under the arch, and it's like, wow.
It wasn't you're starting in the city, let's get you out of the city as quick as we can towards it. It was like you're literally looping back yourself through the city. That was the great thing about it, how it's so welcomed here compared to back to Dublin. We'll keep you in the city for as much as we can, and it's a proper city marathon, which was great as well because the shade for most of it. But that big square at the start, I got to the start line at 8 o'clock, and I was telling the lads, I'm like, something's not right, this is too easy. I'm there for 40 minutes, I'm like, it's too easy getting to the start line, because literally just walked in, there you were. It wasn't even mad crowds like that, and then it starts slowly get busier and busier, and then everything just went off. This is the thing, actually. So I'm a little bit disagreeing with pretty much everyone, which means I'm wrong on this one. I thought Barcelona was far superior to Dublin right until it started. Now, the crowds were great, the drums and stuff like that. They had cheerleaders, which one girl was thrown 20 feet in the air. I'm like, did I actually see that?
Or is this gel kicking in?
So what's wrong with these gels?
The Fantola doing something weird to me here.
And it was great seeing all the tricolours and stuff like that. And everyone we talked to after were like, oh, Barcelona, Barcelona, Barcelona. But there's something about the Dublin crowds, the friendliness, I know it's called the friendly marathon, that's cliche, but I don't know, it's familiar faces and stuff that I really enjoyed more. But I still think it's a phenomenal marathon, very flat. Everything else is perfect, but there's and you're seeing new sides and stuff. And you just jump in here, Kenny Stage, tell me how wrong I am.
You're
here.
completely wrong.
Right.
Like, you know, you have 1 minute, you have people, because your name is huge. There was one thing that I noticed. Your race number was huge. It took up your stomach, and your name was huge.
But your name was twice the size of the number.
The number was irrelevant. It was all about your name. And you would have someone in French like, Allez, Eddie, and you're like, oh, and then some vamos, Eddie, you know, and then, I don't know, different languages are being shouted, and then you'd see a tricolour, and then you'd see a this, and then you'd see a that. Like, for me, it was amazing. But to look at it from a spectator's perspective, and forget about us running, I seen my family 4 times in the first 10K. Because although we were running, if you look at our Stravas, you will see the course. It very much is like a game of Snake on a Nokia 3210.
That's a great way of putting it.
And because it goes left, it goes right, it goes up, it goes down, it does everything else. But for a spectator, they have to cross 2 streets, 200 metres, and they're waiting for you to pass the next 4K.
Yeah.
They'll cross again. Now, there was one element that was a little people crossing roads. It's not necessarily people crossing the roads that's the issue. It's people taking a chance and actually interfering with athletes who are running. It's okay in the first 5K. We're fragile, we're loose, we're limber. But towards the ends of the race, if you have to take a sharp stop. So that was a little bit annoying. But it didn't really interfere with me. You can see it coming. You kind of just move one way or the other. But for spectators to get exposure to you running and not have to walk, not have to get in a car to drive out to here from the park to get into town, from this to that, absolutely amazing in that sense. And I think that's where Dublin you guarantee people will be in these certain places, because that's the only logical way they can see you at different spots. And I suppose you're expecting them at them spots and you remember them, but this one, it was like a mystery because we didn't know the course.
Yeah, never.
And then you just see the Any Given Runday hat and you're like, yeah, there's someone there. So for me, if I was a spectator, I easily could have seen you 10, 12, 13 times across the marathon, which is huge, absolutely huge. So yeah, it was excellent, but I really enjoyed it. Like every 2 kilometres there was a band, there was drums, there was people cheering, and because you were crossing street junctions, so every street junction there was some sort of a crowd, until around 23 kilometres out to 29 it got quiet.
Yeah, because you're out by the beach at that stage. Not quite seeing the beach, but you're the shade is gone. It's just long straights. Like it's it depends on your approach. There's one stage where you're near the 30k mark and you look across, you see 35 and you know, okay, I'm jogging 2.5k this way to come back in yourself. And some people like that element, and some you loved it.
I loved it.
Seeing the 10 straight red lights and you're like, right, off you go. I know if I get 2.5 down here, just come back, and I'm like, oh my god, just cut across.
The temptation to just take a left turn and go back, cut off 2 kilometres were good. And I could have got away with it because my Garmin was saying I was a kilometre up at that stage, so I definitely could have shaved off a kilometre. But it was, for me, the long straights, it was because there was no thinking about it. You know, you just looked into the distance and you'd see a landmark and you're looking at, you know, like you said, 10, 12 traffic lights. And then all you had to do, you kind of just said, forget about my watch and what distance I'm at. I don't need to look at my watch till I hit that. But there's signs every kilometre spray painted on the road and signposted.
There was a lot more water stations, it seemed. A lot more stops for gels. There was like water, isotonics. Now they had the paper cups, and it got very messy in the middle there. People throwing the cups and stuff down. But I think that's just going to be everywhere now. It's going to be the paper cups. The days of bottles for races, I'd say, is pretty much done for these big events. So I'm not even too sure that's a negative anymore. It's just the way it is.
This race had a similar setup, and it was the closest to the Ironman. That every 3-4 kilometres, and it was the same sequence: water, isotonic, and sometimes then it would be bananas, oranges, and gels. So they were every kind of second or third station, which was excellent. But every water station, you had water and isotonic. Not like, you know, after 18k we'll give you a Lucozade. Like no. It was you like the wall shouldn't have been an issue for a lot of people if they were doing it right, because there was every opportunity on the course in terms of gels plus your own, that it was You could have been really, really well fueled, and the volunteers were amazing.
There was no supporters of jelly snakes though.
No supporters of jelly snakes, but at the end of the day, we didn't need them.
No,
like it was
yeah.
just, and mentally, it was 2 to 3K, and then you were at the next one.
Yeah.
You knew you had a little bit more water. Sometimes it was 4K. It depends on what the stretch was, but absolutely ample amount of refreshments and everything that you needed to get around. Had the temperatures been a little bit hotter, you would have been so grateful for them being that frequent.
Yeah.
We were actually looking at it because it was chilly in the shade. You were kind of like, geez, a bit overkill with the water here, because we're probably not used to it that quickly at home, you know. So, but absolutely, like to a T, it was absolutely amazing.
Very well run. Very well run. Yeah, I'm just trying. It's mad just that the loop and stuff backing each other and all the rest. And because you think it's flat though, every time you see any sort of a hill, and it wasn't that bad at all. It was like a little bit of a hill around 4K in.
There was no hills. Did you come off it? There was no hill.
When you think totally flat, you see a bit of a hill. You're like, hang on a second.
It's called a flat marathon, but like, come on, like it's not.
If it's called a flat marathon, I want a flat. I want 42.2 of all flat.
Some of them are drags, but I think the total gain of the course is plus 30. So like, you run up a bridge, it's an incline. But on the other side of the bridge, it equals it in terms of a decline. So like your pace is always neutral. If you slow down a little, you speed up the other side naturally. There was a couple of long drags out there, that 21K mark. There was a long drag kind of up along the beach. It was gradual, but like, I couldn't call it a hill. I couldn't call many of them a hill. And you could see, and then you turn another street and you look down, and you just see the traffic lights kind of grading down slightly. And you're like, oh, it's a little bit downhill.
Looking to recover faster, train harder, and perform better?
And then what?
Perform Nutrition is one of Ireland's leading sports nutrition brands, with a number of great tasting protein powders, a range of vitamins, as well as other supplements such as creatine. All products are made in the GMP facility in the west of Ireland, and they have a range of batch tested and informed sports certified products. Perform is trusted by a number of Olympians, High Rocks champions such as Seán Noble, he was in the podcast.
Yeah, right, he was.
Also CrossFit Games athletes such as Emma McQuaid and many more. Perform's goal is to offer the highest quality, best tasting nutrition products for competitive prices, and now you can get an extra 25% off all products with the code AGR on their website, performnutrition.com.
25%? I'm typing it in now. And don't forget, we are supporting Irish companies. You are supporting this podcast by listening to this advert. So support Irish, get behind your podcast, and get behind your local businesses. And until then, let's get back to the podcast.
Did everything though, because it's in the city, apart from the bit we were down by the beach and you see people playing volleyball and all the rest, and the urinals is a big deal. Otherwise, not more urinals for over here. That's ridiculous. Jamie, how are we? Boys popping over. Did you think that it was just the same thing over and over again? You had one or two cool cathedrals and stuff like that, but it was just buildings. I know these people coming off balconies, whereas in Dublin, and maybe because it's more familiar in Dublin, 1 minute you're in the Phoenix Park, and next minute you're in Kilmainham, next minute, I don't know, maybe Millstown's not exactly a very
but I
scenic
think
scene.
once you leave Kilmainham, Dublin Marathon's very boring.
Second half is, I agree with you. I think the first half is a lot more interesting than the second half.
You've got the park, you've got, people, you've got Kilmainham, they're of historical value, you've got Guinnesses, you go up into Chapel Lizard, you go up into Castleknock, there's a good, but once you leave the half marathon mark, it's the most boring marathon ever. You're turning corners going, the crowds are the only thing that's keeping it alive.
Agreed.
You do not meet a landmark till UCD.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, UCD. And then it's, what corner is next? Where am I? All these streets look the same. And from my perspective, the last 5K of Dublin's horrible, because I'm like, is it this turn? Is it this bridge? Because I'm too unfamiliar, but all the buildings look the same, all the streets look the same. But I suppose for here, it was a new place.
Yeah.
So what probably made it monotonous for us was, where am I? I've no idea what's next. I don't know what the next straight brings. I don't and I saw you, and it was a great part of the marathon for both of us.
Yeah.
When we were going out, that you actually, off-putting for some, enjoyable for me. You see everyone who's miles ahead of you in the race, So you were at about 38, 39.
38, 39. I was really struggling. It was a slight incline for me, and it was a down, obviously decline for you because I got opposite the road. And I just remembered like that my splits have started to drop, and for 3:30 look guaranteed at 34, and at 38 it's like this is gonna get very close to get a PB or not. And I remember looking across going, just give me one Any Given Runday t-shirt, just one. And I kept staring that side of the road I was going, and like you hear the odd, oh go on Seán, who's that? Yeah. and then I just saw your big smiley head, and you're like,
I was having a great day.
He's enjoying himself way too much right now. I know what's going on. But two, I saw someone, and because you're not in Dublin, I just let a big roar. I was like, big dog, let's fucking go.
You were like, and I was like, I was trying to do the maths then. I was like, how fucking far ahead is he? But then, because I was trying to look around to see, could I see a kilometre marker or something for you? And then I was doing the maths. I was like, well, he started 20 minutes ahead and he's running. I was like, oh, he's pretty close. He's pretty close. It's 3.5 hours. And I knew by your reaction, you knew you were close as well. So, but it was good, and it was nice then for me mentally heading off out by the beach and the seaside, and it was a lovely breeze. There was such a lovely breeze. And we headed off, and I was kind of like, I wonder when I get to that part. So you kind of had some, in an unfamiliar marathon, you had some mental planning.
Yeah.
You know, and then I headed around, and I did another few corners, another long straight, and I could see crowds running the opposite direction again, and I seen Katie, and I seen one other, and we were waving at each other.
Yeah.
But I could see then, oh, that's 35k.
Yeah.
I'm at 32k. And that's when I took on board the cafe, and I was like, challenge is accepted. For me then, I knew if that was 35, Seán was definitely at about 39.
Yeah.
So for me, the last 10k of the race was pretty much planned out, and I knew from running out, I knew what the back was.
Yeah.
You know, and the only thing I didn't know was the last 2k, and I was like, well, if you get to 40k, you're pretty much home and hose. So for me, that gave me great confidence to kick on. I had fueled, I didn't run out of energy, I was feeling really good, I was smiling, I was high-fiving everyone in the crowd. Like I took a step back and just really enjoyed it. There was no PB here for me today, and I'm not saying it like, you know, it was a choice to let fucking 15,000 people run past me at the start, but it was to do what was realistic for me and to get through injury free, still enough energy to do it, but being able to see, do you know what, that's only an hour away.
Yeah.
You know, and that to me works. I don't know what people like, that can dishearten people.
But at the same time, it was because it was for you, it was a busier course, and when I got that stuff near the start, because I was in the second wave, like I didn't see anything on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the other side of the road was a part of the course.
Yeah.
I just zoned out in mind every which way, thinking about gels and all the rest. So I didn't even know that was there. But those we talked to, I found that did the wave I was in or the wave before me at 8:30. They were like, the crowds were good, they're okay. But then those started 20 minutes later, like the crowds are phenomenal. So there is that sweet spot around wave 3, 4, 5, where it's crowds the main thing. You kind of want to jump into them, and just to jump back to the very start for me, because of the second wave, if you look at my splits for the first kilometre, I'm doing a 4:15 or something. Like, oh shit, because I got lost in the crowd, as I always fucking do. But it felt great to start, because I mean, vapor flies and all. And I was like, oh.
But it's a catch-22, I suppose, because when the crowds here was kind of, you know, for my waves and below, you're with the bulk.
Yeah.
You're with the bulk of the marathoners, you know, and that's where I was living. You know, once everyone had passed me out, I was like, I'll see you fuckers in 20 kilometres. You know, my usual aggression as they're sprinting past me, and I was like, you can tell by them with the headphones on. It's like, yeah, I'll see you in 20 kilometres. Sure enough, there was 4 or 5 of them that stood out to me because I just went wanker. And they went past me. And I made sure I told them when I passed them at 30k, I was like, it's not so good to go so fast now, is it? And they're just faces, you know, and there's just the life has gone out of them, and they're walking at 28k. I was like, yeah, get it, suck it. But when you're going for a PB, if you're going for a sub 3, yes, the crowd is great. You still have the drums, you still have this, but you're on a different level. For me, the crowd's actually closed in. You know, like the Tour de France, where they narrow the streets.
At that 40k mark, I had that issue as well now.
So you imagine you're with the bulk of the crowd now when you're going for a PB of a 3. So to be honest, I think in terms of offering that sweet spot of getting a crowd engagement but being sparse, when you're in that first wave, it pays dividends for you, not having blockers, not having this. The water stations were still flowing.
Yeah.
But the first few tables were empty.
Yeah.
Whereas for you guys, it would have been
Everyone's there,
to hand. So you're not really getting hindered. You're getting it. You're gone. There'll be once or twice, of course, because there's so many people. But it's amazing. I really enjoyed it. Now, when I was cruising for my last 10K, because I just kept my heart rate around 150, 140 for the whole race. In the last 10K, I said, I have to see 170 at some point. And when I was trying to pick up that pace, given the wave I was in and the pace I had picked for 30K, I found it so hard to get past people when the crowds carried in, and it really hindered my flow. So imagine if you missed a wave or went back a wave and you were trying to do your 3 hour, 3:30.
Very annoying, yeah.
Yeah, it's the next one possible. As you close in, but the race closes in. It's like, but I have to say, it's so cool.
Yeah.
When the crowds are there, like they're hitting your shoulders and everything when you're running through. They don't even know you. You're just like getting slapped and punched and kicked as they're going through. But it was, for me, that was cool. A little bit annoying because people are walking and you're trying to get through them. But like, they're in the last 2K. And
Yeah.
I was a little bit fresher. So it was good. It was a great experience. Really, for me. And then the finish line. Man, what a finish line.
Where did that finish line come soon enough for me? Because I was looking at the clock, I got 2 minutes left, and you're just, because I didn't look at the course beforehand, idiot. I know you're taking one corner. I've seen like the Zurich arch, and I'm like, it's not a great looking finish line, but my God, I'll take it. So what the hell, it wasn't it, and I saw other flags. I took a corner. I'm like, oh, that's not it. I'm on a carpet at this stage. And because I'm in Barcelona, not in Dublin, I just roared, where the fuck's the finish? And then when I finally seen it, I looked down, I'm like, I think I've enough time just about to make it. And sure, emotional mess past the thing. And like that was easy. My favourite part was just finishing, getting it done. There was cool spots, like I said, the 40K where kind of everything kind of closed in and stuff itself. And it was only the last 2-3K from my wave where people were dropping off and cramping, and the medical teams were kept very, very busy in that. But that happens every marathon when people are pushing towards PBs and everything else. Like
it was, and you see it like it's mad. It's like a switch goes off. Like past 27 kilometers, and you can just sense, mood change.
Yes.
And then you get to 28, and all of a sudden, it's like their brains just decide that's the end of my marathon.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 5 people around me just stop. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I started to wonder, wait, should I be stopping as well? What's going on here? But it's that experience of a marathon, and that's why some of our marathons at home are tough, because there's a hell of a lot more hills. Like if when let's call it a spade, it was a flat marathon. And you're getting to 27. Ideally, those who are doing runs at home or are training at home over rolling terrain, they won't feel it until 32, 33, 34. When you're in that stage where it's just, just hang on.
But for the finish itself, the wider streets obviously plays a part in making it go smoother here in Barcelona. But how easy was it, apart from the goodie bag being 2 oranges, an apple, and a bottle of water? not that we ever used the Carlsberg Zeros back home anyway.
They're still in my fridge. Out of date 4 years.
But it was literally just big open space where you eventually start walking again, get the medal, you get to the end of it, turn around, and there's bag drop right there, and it's just easy getting the bag. It was just so easy, so smooth for 27,000 people. It's the one thing I really can't get over, how smooth the whole thing is. And it
was, and like that, and people have said this on this trip, and it's not us, I'm just kind of reiterating, it was just like clockwork.
Yeah, it really was.
Everything was just where it needed to be. Everything was smooth. The finish line, you had loads of time to get through the finish line. There was people there helping you. Your medals were all, like, it was just brilliant. And then the crowds, like, the hardest part of this was trying to walk back to your hotel, because there was just so many people and cheering and enjoying that feeling. Like, it was amazing.
You say that, but we've got one thing in the Expo. When you get your t-shirt and get your bag and everything else, you also get a metro ticket back.
You get a metro ticket.
They close the trains on the marathon. Here it's like, there's your free metro ticket, getting back afterwards if you need it. Like,
if you're struggling after the marathon, the metro stations are pretty much there at the start line. And we didn't use it, but it was
one of the lads
nice.
did, and he said he got to the station and he said the place was packed. He's like, oh geez, it's going to be a long time here. All of a sudden, train came, hopped on. 2 minutes later, hopped into the room. They're jam packed, but he got in smooth. 4 stations down, he's back outside the hotel. That's it, done. And just like that, he's back. And just the way they organise the crowds and stuff here is just, it really is mind blowing how they made it look so simple. Obviously it's not, but they made the logistics of it look so simple.
We had a bit of fun then after we finished. You done really well. You got your sub 3:30 for the first time. I did a negative split, which to me is far bigger achievement.
If he doesn't shut at this fucking
far bigger achievement. I was 8 minutes quicker in the second half, Seán.
I was 8 minutes slower in the second half, and for some reason I'm more annoyed right now.
But it was we had a bit of fun and probably a little bit evil, but we were having great crack.
Yeah.
On the final turn, 41.7 kilometers and they've 500 meters to go. But you can tell when they're hurting, but they're getting emotional. They know the end is coming, but you can see their name from like 100 meters away. I lost my voice in the 20 minutes because you'd pick someone and you'd be like, yes, Cara, you're a legend, you're gonna do it. And all of a sudden the tears start coming out. I think me and Seán made about 40 people cry, and they cried all the way across the finish line. But in a magical moment. In a magical moment. They were in that kind of, I'm almost home, and then you've two randomers screaming your name as hard as they can for that final boost of achievement, and it was great to watch.
It's
I haven't watched, because usually in Dublin you're out. You can't get back near.
No, you can't get near the finish line. You're too far.
And you're out the back of it. You're shot out. You're trying to find somewhere to grab a seat or have a beer. Whereas with this one, you could come back around and you were at
the
200.
backdrop is literally right beside the finish on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And then as you're walking back, you're seeing people come down and finishing. Like your walk back is seeing the finish line. So like, that's impossible in Dublin. It's just impossible to do. And then we're just, not a bother. Next thing you're at the 41k mark, you see people making that turn.
It was so good. But more importantly, it was so good to see all of our group getting through. Some had great times, some hit great PBs. But it was great to see them all finish. Most of them finished ahead of me, thank God. And then
you're the main wolf of the pack, making sure everyone finishes.
Just
leave no one behind.
Leave no one behind, except for 3 or 4 of them. But it was really, really good. And again, a shout out to all of them. They trusted in us to come to Barcelona. I think a lot of them have kind of questioning, do we do Dublin or we go to Barcelona again? You know, like there's the efficiency, the course. I suppose now people know the course. There's a lot. You probably subconsciously keep something in the tank when you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
But now people have gotten a taste for the course. You're probably like, ooh, I could have pushed a little bit more here. That never came. That little bit of rise that I was kind of used to never really showed up. It was what it was, and manageable, you know. So it's it's definitely one if people are looking to do one. For me, I really couldn't recommend it enough.
100%.
And value for money.
Yeah.
The early bird ticket's €65.
It's cheaper than half marathon in Dublin at the moment.
Yeah. So and the late tickets before it sells out, 27,000 people doing it, is €80.
And you have time to get it as well.
You have time.
That's the mad thing. It's no lottery system or anything like that. And it's just. It's set up very well for even all the hotels and stuff nearby, the starting line and everything else. Obviously, we said we're 1.5 kilometres away from the start here. It's my first abroad marathon, and I had no idea in terms of preparation, sleep, even food and stuff I was worried about, but obviously getting different gels for the first time as well. But everything just went so smooth, went swimmingly. It was just
we covered most bases. We picked a good hotel. The breakfast kind of looked after itself, gave everyone everything what they needed. You know, it's sometimes, I suppose you can. Now we were lucky we could get the group rate, so that made life a little bit easier. But sometimes when you go with the cheap seats in the hotel, then you're left fending for yourself for a breakfast, and you're looking for milk to go with it, you know, and you're kind of bringing the kitchen in the suitcase with you, you know. So we had that extra little bit of luxury, a little bit of comfort. Trying to avoid the champagne that was sitting at the breakfast counter was the hard part until this morning. I needed it to kind of bring me back to life, but it was the mimosas were flowing today. But it was it was really, really good, and the city itself, the availability of transport. Most people here now are sitting on an open top bus tour for the day because they don't want to walk, but they want to see the city. And you know, it's at the end of the day, it is a holiday as well, and hopefully one that people have enjoyed. And they've all been asking us, what's next, and I was like, aspirin, that's about all that's next. And I'm not looking at a passport, I'm not looking at anything for at least 2 weeks, and then we'll take it from there. But it's been absolutely amazing. We've had a fantastic group. I can name them all here if people want to listen to 43 names, but I suppose they all know who they are themselves, and it's just been brilliant. And the support that came with them, that not only supported their husbands, wives, partners, friends and family, they supported everyone in the group, and it was, for me, so reassuring to see in Any Given Runday hat just a bobble. We had the only bobble hats in the whole city. And to just see a bobble hat from a kilometre away, you'd be like, there's someone I know.
Yeah.
There's another person I know. So it was absolutely brilliant. And one, I didn't do a PB by no means. I suppose to touch on, we did talk about how the hot weather training would suit me. We didn't know. I hadn't run further than 17 kilometres in the build-up, and it was all on treadmills.
Talk about doing everything wrong before a marathon.
But I tell you what, my heart rate didn't come above 150. Sometimes it come up to 160 randomly, but for the most part, for 30k, it stayed.
Yeah.
So pace wasn't there, distance wasn't there, and we knew that. We knew that when we set our stall out. I said, look, 4:15 to 4:30. I said, if it's really good, we'll go sub 4:15. But if it's not, it is what it is. But I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised.
And how's the body feeling now?
I'm actually okay. I feel like I've done a heavy leg day in the gym yesterday. Like the stairs on the up is fine. The stairs on the down is not so good. But it's for me, all in all, I've got away. I've robbed the bank once again. But I'm pleasantly surprised. It was one, but I was very, very conservative in the opening, and rightly so. I should have been. I had no business going for a best effort. But for me, this was about enjoying 43 people coming away with us, trusting us with the trip, hounding me for next year's trip. So it's been absolutely amazing in that sense, and a bit surreal, if I'm going to be honest.
I think the best part is always the best part of these trips was getting the marathon, all back here at the hotel where we are right now, and just the pizzas, the beers flowing and everything else, and just talking with the old war stories of going through the Barcelona Marathon and stuff like that. So probably a good thing we had the microphone out yesterday for that.
Yeah, we would have been cancelled within about 10 minutes.
Absolutely, would have been a bit eligible now.
But it was really, really good, and like that, the beauty of a lot of people had ambitions of going to late bars and this bars. As soon as we put food into them, nobody left. No. And I think I was last to bed at 1:30, so it was a busy lobby bar, but we definitely enjoyed it. And I suppose when you're with a group, that's the beauty of it. You don't, like, when you do a marathon in ones and twos, you go somewhere with atmosphere. We had our own atmosphere, we had our own crowd, we took over wherever we went, so. And
everyone had a seat, which was the main thing at the end and stuff like that. So trying to cram into the bar, like I've said before, when I'm finished Dublin Marathon, McNeve, don't see me to finish. Go straight to toners and make sure there's a seat there for me. That's more important.
But it was good, and look, we have been surprised on every corner. That it's just been so good.
It's gone so much better than expected. I didn't know what to expect, but just how everything's gone so well. It's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, and
it really is.
It's not by chance. Like the marathon have put a lot of thought into it. The city have put a lot of thought into the route. The policing of it was absolutely excellent. There was police everywhere. The tourism board, like we did the open bus tour the day before, and they were telling us, look, there's a marathon tomorrow, so we've no service, so we're extending your bus tour for another 24 hours for free.
Brilliant.
So like tourists who are here who may be inconvenienced by the marathon were getting free, but if they bought their tour, they were given already a 72-hour ticket for the price of a 24 to accommodate the 27,000 people who were going to spend money in the city, and it was just excellent. You were the priority of the weekend, and it was very evident around the city, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, usually you feel like you're an inconvenience and stuff, and people can't drive around and stuff like that, and seeing traffic jams, something like that. But it was none of that yesterday. It was just the marathon's taking over the city, and that's it then, and you'll be looked after the next day, and so the sun's out and everything now, and
I'm after seeing everyone going on a walking tour now, and they look like they're going to eat nice things. So it's time to get up, get packed, get checked out, and get out there and see how we go. But it's look, again, we're humbled for all those, not only who came, for those who have texted myself and Seán over the last couple of days and wished us well. And Jer even texted me today. He has his Any Given Runday t-shirt in London, and he said, well done to us. But he said he's going for a real run. But it's so many people and previous guests and those who would have loved to be here couldn't be here. We missed you, and we're happy with the group that we had. We have great memories, and we will see. I'm going to take a few days and we will see.
What's next?
What's next?
The fact that everyone even wore their drinking t-shirts afterwards as well.
Drinking t-shirts, yeah. When you come down even to breakfast on the last morning and people still have their drinking t-shirts on, you know it was a good day.
Yeah.
So it's been all around. It's been fun. It's been an experiment. We said it once in the podcast. Does anyone want to come with us? And 43 people said, yeah, let's do it. It's been amazing. It's been a fantastic trip. It's been a different era, I suppose, of this podcast to take people away as a community. We know we have an online community. We know we have a listenership on a Monday morning. It's definitely a different one, but we do hope all at home. We're a little bit envious. You should be.
You should be.
You should have been here.
Stuck in your Paddy's Day parades back home now.
Yeah. And I hope the traffic is shit.
I hope it's raining.
I hope it's raining. Sun shining here. But it's we will see what the future holds for it. But for us, for me, I know you probably have different feelings. You're 1 out of 43 that has that opinion. And for me, this was 9, 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
If I was to actually give this a go, if you're considering a PB, this is the place.
The highest compliment I can give it is we talked a small bit before coming to Barcelona about if this is going to be a yearly thing, doing an AGR trip. And we're not telling you now because we're not too sure right now what's next. But I had said to you, Eric, I was like, no, this is a one and done for Barcelona, because if we're going to do this again, try a new place and all the rest. But then talking to people last night and then today just thinking about it, I'm like, jeez, I don't think I'd be too disappointed now if I got this treatment again next year for a marathon and everything else. I'm like, I think I could do Barcelona for another time.
It's like going into the restaurant and you order something and it's gorgeous and you're like, whoa,
I don't really want to try something else.
What if that's not as nice as this one? And the pressure's on me because this is going too fucking well. So now the bar is high. The bar is exceptionally high. And to be honest, apart from a flight, a bus and a hotel, the organisers of the marathon did the heavy lifting, and that made this feel like it was a fantastic thing. And you go somewhere else, you go to another city, they have to perform, because otherwise we'll still be talking about the Barcelona Marathon. And if we don't go next year, we go somewhere, we'll be soon back to it, because it has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and on that note, I think they're about to kick us out of the hotel, so we better start packing up and go from there. It's been absolutely phenomenal, guys. I no other words, pretty overwhelmed the whole weekend and just talking to people for the last couple of hours last night and stuff like that. So I definitely probably need another pint for the cure right now, but I feel like I'm a little bit more awake through this. 4 coffees was not enough this morning for this podcast, but as always, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Thank you for everyone that's supported it genuinely, the gear and all the rest, everyone that came over with us. Eric, I have nothing else to say in this one.
No, and that's it. And a big thank you for those who came with us. A big thank you for those who continue to listen. Next week we are back with our guests. That's the end of me and Seán for an hour. We'll just be the regular intros from us two shams, but the rest of it will be back to the interviews. So thanks for listening. This is a Tuesday episode. We do hope you enjoyed the bank holiday. We hope you all enjoyed a fun time, a couple of beers, a couple of runs, a lot of races going on around the country. So please make sure to get out and support your local run clubs. And we will be back next week with some more guests.
And that's it for myself and Eric. Take care. Happy Paddy's Day.